That is a beautiful angel on my screen right there. And this baby deserved parents who cared. This baby deserved a loving household to be able to grow up and become something great. And I have no doubt that if you would have just allowed her to survive, that she could have thrived later on in life if she could have just grown up. But this baby met her demise. And I think there was something a little more sinister going on behind this, but we have to really, really preface this before we get started. So initially, with the death of this baby that you guys see on my screen, there were no criminal charges filed as of that moment for almost 3 years. But the news people have been doing some digging into that person's history that you guys see on my screen right there. And it makes you question and wonder what really happened to this baby. Should this woman potentially have to face charges? Was there something more criminal that happened that she was trying to hide? Well, let's talk about it, but let me give you a disclaimer because you might not have been here before. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. I'm getting this particular story from cbsnews.com. So Chicago, thank you so much for the article. We're actually going to read from her Facebook page as well because she actually spoke about this child dying. So the lady that you guys saw on my screen, let me see if I can back it up for a second. That woman was the foster mother, the foster parent to this child, which in turn means that she had a biological mother and biological father. What the hell happened to them? I always say that the failure of these children start with the biological mother and biological father first. So they first failed this child. And the system tried to come in and save this child and put this child in a house that they thought was suitable to protect her and raise her. She didn't make it. Let me give you some more details, Chicago. The Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS, is requesting that the Chicago Police Department reopen a criminal investigation into the death of 3-year-old Aaliyah Benka, Benka. DCFS indicated that the little girl's foster mother was responsible for the child's death. And that's saying a lot because you know DCFS usually tries to be like they wipe their hands with it like, hey, case is closed. We don't know what else to tell you. So I think this is big for them stepping up and saying, I think y'all need to reopen this case. Something is amiss here. Something is wrong. But there has still been no criminal charges. Let me say that again. There have been no criminal charges, so I don't want this woman trying to go out and sue me and saying that she did something criminal. I'm saying what we have as facts here in this case and what we believe might have happened. To preface, this baby was born with a bad heart, and Aaliyah's life was difficult. She was just a year and a half old when she underwent a heart transplant. It should have been the beginning of a new, healthy life, but Aaliyah needed more help. Her biological mother could not care for her and asked DCFS to find her daughter a safe home. DCFS gave custody of Aaliyah to Karen Castleberry, the woman that you guys see on the right-hand side of the screen, who was trained to take care of medically complex children. Castleberry had already fostered another child who had a transplant and needed the same anti-rejection medicine as Aaliyah called tacrolimus. Tacrolimus, Tacrolimus. So sorry if I didn't pronounce that right. A year and a half after moving in with Castleberry, Aaliyah's body started rejecting her new heart. A year and a half. Castleberry took her to Ann and Robert H. Lurie Children's Hospital of Chicago. A report from DCFS Office of the Inspector General says Aaliyah was hooked to machines for 5 days, but the damage to her heart was too much, and Aaliyah ended up passing away, so she died. She was only 3 years old. CBS 2 investigators found records about her death in 2020. This was 3 years ago. While digging into DCFS abuse and neglect data, we obtained through a Freedom of Information Act FOIA request. Then we obtained other DCFS records and used FOIA to get Cook County Medical Examiner, ME, and Chicago Police Department reports about Aaliyah's death. So somebody had to really go through all of this to be able to get all of this information, and I'm grateful for that because they want to get a real answer. They want to get some real justice. I got to respect that. Piecing together all the records, they found the cardiologist treating Aaliyah before her death was alarmed, quote unquote, alarmed, when she reviewed Aaliyah's blood work and saw that there was a very low level of anti-rejection medicine, which means that she potentially wasn't being given her medicine, which would be a crime. She's a baby. That means she needs somebody to do this for her. And if that person who signed up to do this failed to do that or just flat out didn't give a shit to do it, that would be criminal. DCFS Inspector General's investigation found levels were nearly indetectable and found Castleberry responsible for failing to administer the child's medication to her. That is a medical fact according to their words. DCFS indicated her for death by neglect and medical neglect. DCFS investigation also says the foster mother had not picked up the child's medication the prior month of September despite several notifications from the pharmacy. So she just flat out didn't go get her meds. That proves crime. That proves intent. We tried to talk to Castleberry about the findings because they caught up with her in the streets. I'll play that interview for us so y'all can see that. She refused to answer most of the questions. Though, when asked about not giving Aaliyah her medicine, she said, that's not true. But that's a medical fact that she didn't give her a med. Or at least not enough of it. The medical examiner's report says Castleberry denied failing to give Aaliyah her medicine. A DCFS official says Castleberry did not appeal the findings and she surrendered her foster care license. But our investigation raises questions about whether she should have even had her foster license at the time of Aaliyah's death in October 2020. I want y'all to catch this because this is what I think proves the intent. It makes it worse. So check this part out. A Chicago Police Department report from 2017 says that foster mother Castleberry was charged with domestic battery for beating and injuring a different child. The report says that she beat a 10-year-old girl with a belt, causing a black eye and multiple linear buckle marks on her back. The report says Castleberry admitted she struck the victim several times with the belt because she lied about attending violin classes. And you guys know that I'm against spanking. Especially, I know there's a special provision with foster children. You're definitely not supposed to be able to spank them. Them ain't even your kids. But I'm against spanking all the way around. And I think that if you're spanking, then you're being lazy as a parent. You don't want to be a parent because parenting is a mental thing. It's not a physical thing. When a kid don't want you to do what you want them to do, you don't beat them up. You don't physically harm them. That's what they used to do in slavery. These kids ain't slaves. They're babies. You don't beat them up in order to try to get a point across or to give them corrective action. That's not what parenting is. If you think that spanking is being a parent, then you probably shouldn't have kids at all. But let's keep going. Court records show a motion to present proof of anger management was filed. Then the charge was dropped. DCFS also investigated Castleberry for allegations under a classification it calls cuts, bruises, welts, abrasions, and oral injuries. Despite Castleberry's arrest and child bruises, DCFS closed the investigation and classified it as unfounded. Charles Goldberg is the Cook County Public Guardian. His Office of Attorneys represents foster children and advocates for them. We asked Goldberg to review the abuse and neglect files involving Castleberry. It is sad for the children in this person's care, said Goldberg. He's concerned with the 2017 arrest was handled by DCFS. Did they take this information and do a proper risk assessment to see whether there should still be foster children in this home? So it raises a lot of serious red flags. Another red flag involves another case involving Castleberry's treatment of Aaliyah. 7 months, 7 months before Aaliyah died, this angel that you guys see on my screen, 7 months before she died, she was hospitalized with the flu. A DCFS report says Castleberry left the toddler alone in the hospital for 3 days. Let me say that again. She left this baby alone in the hospital for 3 days. Who the hell does that? 3 days. There was an attempt to remove Castleberry as Aaliyah's foster mother. That alone right there, they should have been like, nope, that's it. You're done. Privileges revoked. Give up your license. Put this baby with somebody else that can properly care for her. That should have been it. A notice of removal was issued, but Castleberry appealed and DCFS allowed her to keep fostering Aaliyah. Can we get a hashtag babies for benefits? Because you clearly didn't care about this child. And I know there are a lot of people out there, we can't call everybody out, but there are a lot of people out there who only have foster kids to collect a fucking check. You left the child there for 3 days. They said, nope, you're done. You should have just said, all right, my bad. I messed up. Walk away because you clearly didn't care. Walk away, ma'am. She didn't do that. She like, no, I want to get my checks back. That's what it seems like. I want my checks back. I mean, I want the baby back. She filed an appeal and got the appeal. With everything that happened in this home and all these red flags and everything prior, yeah, there were a lot of red flags to say the least. We spent years investigating DCFS and obtained the department's abuse and neglect data dating back to 2016. By analyzing it, we found a pattern. When a foster parent is accused of abuse or neglect, the allegations go unfounded 9 out of 10 times. How many of you guys knew that? When foster parents are accused of abuse or neglect, the allegations go unfounded 9 out of 10 times. Do y'all really believe that if somebody saw something and said something like they're supposed to, that it was unfounded? I just refuse to believe that. That sounds like they're not doing their damn jobs. Back in 2020, the Chicago Police Department also opened an investigation into Aaliyah's death. What happened to that investigation is unclear, except that it was closed. There were no criminal charges. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office ruled Aaliyah died of natural causes at that time. Now, after our investigation, DCFS is requesting that Chicago Police Department reopen a criminal investigation into what happened to Aaliyah Benka. Cook County Public Guardian Charles Goldberg also wants to see an investigation opened. The statement from DCFS Communication Director Heather Tarczkin, Tarczan. They keep coming up with these names. I can't pronounce them, sorry. When the life of a child is tragically cut short, it's devastating on many levels. This is the case here, particularly when it appears that the adult that was supposed to care for this child did not. DCFS is continuing its efforts to seek justice by reaching out to the Chicago Police Department to offer assistance and request that this case be reopened. Let me give you guys the fair usage and welcome our new channel members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Here we go. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Do me a favor, please click that thumbs up. We're doing really good with the thumbs up right now. So if you come in, please hit that thumbs up. Here we go. Let's listen to these news videos. Here we go. Let's get it.
Now, CBS 2 investigates. The death of a 3-year-old girl who was being cared for by a foster mother could turn into a criminal investigation. Her name is Aaliyah.
And new pressure tonight to reopen the investigation in response to the story you're about to see. Here's Dave Savini with the CBS 2 investigation into what happened to Aaliyah.
The little girl behind this adorable smile is Aaliyah Benka. Born with a bad heart, Aaliyah's life was a difficult one. She was just 1.5 when she underwent a heart transplant. It should have been the beginning of a new, healthy life, but Aaliyah needed more help. Her biological mom couldn't care for her, and her mom asked DCFS to find her a safe home.
Aaliyah came to me as a baby when she was 1.
DCFS gave custody of Aaliyah to this foster mother, Karen Castleberry.
And I kind of fell in love with her. She was a bubbly, smiling little girl. She had been through so much.
She was even featured in a promotional video for a hospital. Castleberry is what DCFS calls a specialized foster mother trained to take in children with special medical needs.
Dr. Farn, we got a doctor's visit.
She had already fostered another child who had a transplant and also needed the same medicine as Aaliyah. And Castleberry knew how critically important it was that Aaliyah was always given her anti-rejection medicine, tacrolimus, for her new heart.
I always knew that there was a chance that I could lose her. And I knew that she wouldn't be with me forever.
But just 1.5 years after getting Aaliyah, her body started rejecting the heart. An investigator's report says Castleberry told them she found the little girl in distress on the patio of her home on Chicago's west side. Instead of calling 911, Castleberry drove Aaliyah to Lurie Children's Hospital. A DCFS report says Aaliyah was hooked to machines for 5 days, but the damage to the toddler's heart was too much. She died and is buried here. But now, 3 years later, the CBS 2 investigators have uncovered alarming details about her death. A medical examiner report shows Aaliyah's heart doctor suspected Castleberry had neglected to give the child her life-saving anti-rejection meds.
Excuse me, Karen. I'm Dave Savini from Channel 2, and I got to ask you some questions about DCFS.
We tried to talk to Castleberry about Aaliyah and what we found in these Cook County Medical Examiner, police, and DCFS reports. Piecing together these documents, we found Aaliyah's cardiologist was alarmed when she reviewed Aaliyah's blood work and saw a very low level of anti-rejection medication. Police and DCFS were called.
Yes.
DCFS's investigation found levels of her medication were nearly undetectable. DCFS found Castleberry responsible for failing to administer the child's medication to her and indicating her for death by neglect and medical neglect.
There's a death by neglect investigation that was indicated against you.
Okay, we're not going to talk about that.
But I would like to talk to you
No, we're not.
about her.
No.
Little girl.
No.
The DCFS investigation also says Castleberry, the foster mother, had not picked up the child's medication for the prior month of September, despite several notifications from the pharmacy.
We're not finna do this. We're not finna do this. No.
I'm not going to talk about it?
No.
Did you appeal it?
She did not appeal the findings and surrendered her foster care license, but our investigation raises questions about whether Castleberry should have even had a foster license at the time of Aaliyah's death in October of 2020. In 2017, Castleberry was charged with domestic battery for beating and injuring a different child, a 10-year-old girl with a belt. This Chicago police arrest report details the girl's wounds, a black eye, and multiple linear and buckle marks on her back. Another police report says Castleberry admitted she struck the victim several times with the belt because the child lied about attending violin classes.
Can we talk about the arrest with the domestic involving the older girl?
Y'all, I want y'all to notice how she continues to keep eating. When she could just, if she don't want to talk, she could just simply say, I decline the interview and just keep it moving. Like, I decline to talk. But she gonna keep on eating. And did y'all find it ironic that her name is Karen? Thought I'd throw that out there. Thought that was ironic.
DCFS investigated Castleberry for that 10-year-old's alleged abuse under a classification DCFS calls cuts, bruises, welts, abrasions, and oral injuries. Despite Castleberry's arrest and the child's bruises, DCFS closed the investigation and classified it as unfounded.
The police report says that this mother beat the girl with a belt buckle on her face and gave her a black eye.
And on her back?
Yeah, and on her back as well.
Charles Goldberg is the Cook County Public Guardian. We asked him to review the abuse and neglect files involving Castleberry.
It's sad for the children in this person's care.
What was your reaction when you read that police report about the belt beating?
Did they take this information and do a thorough, proper risk assessment to see whether there should still be foster children in this home? So this raises a lot of very serious red flags.
And there was another red flag, another case involving Castleberry's treatment of Aaliyah. 7 months before Aaliyah died, then just 2.5 years old, she had to be hospitalized for the flu. This DCFS record says Castleberry just left the toddler there, all alone, for 3 days in the hospital. There was an attempt to remove Castleberry as Aaliyah's foster mother. A notice of removal was issued, but Castleberry appealed. DCFS allowed her to keep parenting Aaliyah.
With everything that had happened in this home and all these red flags and everything prior, there are a lot of red flags to say the least.
We've spent years investigating DCFS and obtained this abuse and neglect data dating back to 2016. By analyzing it, we found a pattern. When a foster parent is accused of abuse or neglect, the allegations go unfounded 9 times out of 10. It was in this data where we found Castleberry and learned of Aaliyah's death.
This is a case that was buried in their records, that we wouldn't have known about had we not done the data investigation. Does this make you wonder how many more are out there?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
It says you didn't give her medicine.
That's not true.
Back in 2020, when Aaliyah died, Chicago police also opened an investigation into her death. But what happened to that investigation is unclear, except that it was closed. There were no criminal charges.
And not picking up a medicine from a pharmacy for over a month would be critical.
Yeah, that would be medical neglect, absolutely.
I have the death investigation right here.
Now, after our investigation, DCFS is requesting Chicago police reopen a criminal case into what happened to Aaliyah Benka.
As the Cook County Public Guardian, you also want the police to reopen this case?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Do you have anything to say about that at all?
According to an investigator's report, Castleberry denied failing to give Aaliyah her medicine. Now to Castleberry's 2017 domestic battery charge involving the other child. Court records show a motion to, quote, present proof of anger management. Then the charge was dropped. DCFS says it will assist the Chicago Police Department if it reopens Aaliyah's death case. We will stay on it. Dave Savini, CBS 2 Investigators.
Let me ask this real quick before we close this story out. I found there was something interesting that she had posted on her Facebook because Karen Castleberry's Facebook, the guardian of that little baby girl, is still open. Do y'all want to see something that she posted? I think you only got a few seconds, so I guess if you're watching us on a replay, I guess you'll see this now without being able to vote. But let me go ahead and post this screenshot. And I just thought it was interesting. Maybe it means nothing, and I hope you guys can see this because that's about as big as I can make that. But let me read to you and tell you what it says. So from her Facebook, I got to bring it up on my page over here. Make this a little bit smaller. There we go. So it says, Karen Warren Castleberry, October 20th of 2020. She said, hello, FBFNF. What the hell does that even mean? Facebook family and friends, I guess. I'm here to announce the passing of my daughter, Aaliyah B. She died Sunday, October 18th of 2020 when she was just 3 years old. Aaliyah was so adorable. We loved her so much, and she was such a cutie and so full of love and life. Her spirit was so special, she lit up every room she entered. Her beauty was stunning and captivating, guaranteed to stop you dead in your tracks. This is so hard, and I am no stranger to this pain, and it doesn't make it any easier. As a matter of fact, because I have known this pain, it scares me even more. I don't want to be down and out like before. When I lost Tony, Toni, in December of 2017, whoever that is, I don't know who that is. We'll find out here in a moment, maybe. She said, I was depressed for over a year. I cried every day and stayed in bed for months. My children suffered. Let me read that again. My children suffered. So Z had the hardest time, and like before, she is having a more difficult time. Belila Cole, my rock, lives in Austin, Texas, has had a hard time living so far away from his support. I need him so much, and he needs me and us too. We're trying to figure out how he can be with us for a while as we love each other while we heal from our loss. Or meant LOSS. I don't know why they always say LOST. It's LOSS, loss, not lost. Please keep us in your daily prayers for a while. Remember adorable Aaliyah. I wish I had someone to hold me as I sleep. I guess for now it'll just have to be the Holy Spirit. Pray for my strength and that my and our suffering won't be long. But if you guys notice, when he was asking her about her death, she didn't seem to really care. She was eating her bag of food or whatever it was and just kept on pushing. She just kept walking like she didn't look heartbroken to me. But I digress. To my beloved community of North Lawndale and my church family at Lawndale Christian Community Church, I thank you all for the outpouring of love. I've received many calls, text and messages, as well as good deeds. Everything and everyone's kindness are heartfelt. And to the staff and team of nurses, doctors at Lurie's Children's Hospital, your love and care and hospitality has been bar none. Not sure if it was because of my deep connection to the hospital or that Aaliyah was one of their very own. They did an amazing job preparing a place for us to celebrate her life. Many of my family and friends and LCCC showed up Sunday, and we have Aaliyah a beautiful funeral. Funny thing is, the room Aaliyah passed away in was the same room I first met her in and took her home. Must be something spiritual there. I just wanted to share my thoughts, and I hope I haven't offended anyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Special shout out to Joy Harrison. Friend, you were right on time. Michael loved him some Aaliyah, and Aaliyah loved him some Michael. Oh yeah, to the kids of Off the Block, you rock. And she names a bunch of names there. Your kindness has not gone unnoticed. To my prayer warriors, saints, and believers, thank you for your continued love and spiritual uplifting. Much love, Karen. I know that was a lot, but she wrote a lot. Let me ask you guys a question. With a post like that, doesn't that, maybe my mind is just sick. Maybe something's just wrong with me. But doesn't it sound like she's making that more about her? Like it's all about me, 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 me. Did y'all catch that? Or am I the only one? It sounds like she's just more about me, me, me. Selfish mentality. I don't think she cared about this child at all. Even to the point to where she neglected to get her medicine. I hope they do reopen this investigation. And I hope that she proves that she's innocent. If she does that, cool, fine. We'll move on. If not, she needs to be punished for whatever they found that she did wrong. To baby Aaliyah. See if I get her picture up here. She's a beautiful little girl. That's probably my favorite picture right here. Young princess. R.I.P. Thank you guys for listening to this story. We will definitely do an update even to let you guys know what the conclusion is if they do decide to reopen this investigation. But I hope they do, and I hope that she's able to prove that she didn't actually do something wrong. But we'll find out. So thank you.